Good morning and Jai Hind children. Today we are going to start with our second chapter of English grammar. So the second chapter of English grammar is subject and predicate. The first chapter was kinds of sentences, which we have already done in the last class. I hope you all remember everything that I've taught you about the kinds of sentences. So for understanding what is subject and predicate, firstly you need to have a clear idea of what is a sentence. I'm just going to give you a peek of what we did in our last class. What is a sentence? A sentence is a group of words that expresses a complete thought. So in the last class I taught you that when you have a group of words in a particular manner arranged in a correct sequence, that it communicates sense to you, it gives you some meaning, then it is called a sentence. Now based on our concept of what a sentence is, we are going to understand what is subject and what is predicate. Let's look at some sentences before that. Okay, a bear saw a funny film. The brown dog crossed the road. My mother baked a cake. Farhan went to the store. The lion roared loudly. The students marched well. Grandma told them a story. She went for a walk. Now, in all the sentences that I've read out to you, you must be wondering why are some words in pink and why are the others in green. I'm going to explain that to you in the next slide. Before that, let's look at this. Each sentence tells us about someone or something and about what they do. So, all the sentences that's written over here, in this you can see that we are talking about either a person or a thing. And we are saying that what is the person doing, or we are talking about something related to that person or that thing. Like in the first sentence, we are talking about the boy called Abir, and we are saying that Abir saw a funny film. In the second sentence, we're talking about the brown dog. Okay, so a brown colored dog, we're talking about the dog. And we're saying that the dog crossed the road. So we're saying what did the dog do? Likewise, in all the sentences, we're talking about someone or something. Now, let us solve the mystery of why are some words in pink and the others in green in the next slide with another example. Okay, so here I have another example. The tiger lives in the jungle. Okay, so now what are we talking about in this sentence? Correct, we're talking about the tiger. And what are we saying about the tiger? That the tiger lives in the jungle. So now let us see why is the tiger written in pink. The part of the sentence which tells us who or what the sentence is about is called the subject. So this sentence, we're talking about what? We're talking about the tiger. The tiger is the most important thing of the sentence. That is what we are talking about. So the thing or the person about who we are talking, the focus of the sentence is known as the subject. So over here, the tiger is the subject. And the remaining words, lives in the jungle. This is in green. Now let us see why is this in green. What does that mean? Okay, so the rest of the sentence is called the predicate. It tells us something about the subject. So apart from the subject, whatever the remaining words are there in the sentence, that is called the predicate, and the remaining words, they tell you something about the subject. So over here, lives in the jungle. This is our predicate, and it tells us that the tiger lives in the jungle. Alright, so in a sentence, all the words apart from the subject is the predicate. This is a very simple way of identifying what is a predicate. So we understood what is a subject and what is a predicate. So all the words in the previous sentences which were in pink, that is the thing or the person that we were talking about was the subject, and the green words were the predicate. Now there is another interesting thing which I want you to see in this slide. So it is about the word tiger. Let's read this. The most important word in the subject is called the subject word. The subject word is always a noun. It can be a proper noun, a common noun, or it can also be a pronoun. Alright. So The tiger. There are two words which make up the subject over here. The and tiger. But which word is more important? The or tiger? Obviously, tiger is the more important word. So, tiger is the subject word. The most important word in the words that make up the subject is called the subject word. And the subject word can either be a common noun, it can be a proper noun, or it can simply also be a pronoun. A pronoun is something which takes the place of a noun. So, it can be a common noun, a proper noun, or a pronoun. In this sentence, tiger is the subject word and it is a common noun. So tiger is a subject word which is a common noun. Alright. So I think in this slide you are clear with what is subject, what is predicate, and what is a subject word. This is the first thing that you need to understand in this chapter. We'll go on to the next part of this chapter. Now this is a very small sentence only made of two words, dogs and bark. As I have already told you that the words I have written in pink is the correct subject and the words written in green is the predicate. So now you can say that dogs over here is the subject and bark is the predicate. Now don't get confused. A predicate can also be made of only one word. Predicate does not have to be 2-3 words together. One single word can also make a predicate. And if in a case you have only one single word making the predicate, that will always be a verb. That is a doing word. If you see this example, dogs bark, bark is a verb. Okay, let's read this. In some sentences, the predicate can be a single word, like I already told you. The word or the predicate then is the verb. So if you have a sentence which is only made up of two words, where the predicate is only of one word, then it will be a verb. So don't get confused. If you have such short sentences, the predicate can be made of one word. There's nothing to get confused. We will look at some more examples. Sarah sings. Sarah is the subject. Sings, one single word, makes up the predicate, and sings is a verb. The athlete runs. The athlete is a common noun, that is, it is the subject, and runs is the predicate. Only one single word. Birds chirp. Again, chirp is the sound that birds make, so chirp is also a predicate and is a verb. The meeting ended. The meeting is the subject. Ended is the predicate. Ended is also a verb. The baby cries. What is the baby doing? The baby cries. So cries is also a verb. Single predicate, single word predicate have to be a verb. Clear? I think it is clear till here. If you have any confusion, you can also replay this slide. You can go back and you can listen to the audio. We'll move on with the next part of this chapter. Here I've added a picture. Now in this picture there are two columns made and it differentiates between the subject and predicate. The first sentence is I will go to the market today. So I is the subject because I am the person who is going to do the work, and what am I going to do? Will go to the market today. This is my predicate. Next sentence, stray animals must be taken care of. Subject again is stray animals, common noun. And what are we going to do with stray animals? They must be taken care of. This is the predicate. Last example over here. The big black dog caught the flying disc. So big black dog is the subject. And what is the dog doing? He caught the flying disc. This is the predicate. Now in these three examples, there is something common. Think about it. What is common? We will look at it. Let's read this. Look at the above sentences. In each of these sentences, the subject comes at the beginning of the sentence. However, in some sentences, the subject does not come in the beginning. So, till now I have done the simple kind of sentences with you. In these sentences, subject comes first and then comes the predicate. So subject is first, then predicate follows the subject. But you might sometimes come across some sentences where predicate comes first and subject comes later on. So first you will see predicate, then you will see subject. Let us look at some examples. For example, down rolled the boulders. Okay, so boulders is the subject. Down rolled the boulders. And what happened to the boulders? The boulders rolled down. They were rolling down, they fell down. So boulders is the subject. Subject comes later. See, that is why I've written boulders in pink and down rolled the is in green. Okay. Next, along came Polly. So Polly is the subject. Polly is the name of a girl. That is the subject. And along came Polly. Polly came with someone. Along with someone. So along came is in green. That is the predicate. Polly is the subject. Subject comes after the predicate in this case. Alright. Last example. Under the tree sat Jim. So here we are talking about a boy called Jim. And what are we saying about Jim? We are saying that Jim sat under the tree. So under the tree sat is the predicate, hence it is in green, and Jim, because we are talking about Jim, Jim is the subject, and so that is in pink. Okay, so what did we learn in this slide? We learned that it is not necessary that subject will always come before the predicate. Predicate may come first and then subject will come. It can be both ways. Alright. I'll move on to the next part of the presentation. I'm covering the whole chapter in one video. So if you want to break and watch it, you can do that. You can also replay the video for better understanding. I'm going to move on to the next topic of this chapter. There are some important rules that you have to keep in mind for subject and predicate. We're going to do the rules now. We'll again understand these rules with some examples, alright? Okay, so now I have a sentence, throw the ball. Now if you're playing catch with somebody and if you tell your friend, throw the ball. So now you have to think, what is the subject over here? Are we using are we addressing the person over here? No. So we will understand this step by step. First, let's go back to what we studied in sentences and try to understand what kind of a sentence is this. Throw the ball. Yes, it is an imperative sentence. Throw the ball is an imperative sentence. You're ordering someone to throw the ball. Remember, for imperative sentence, I taught you the trick of command, advice and request. So this is a command. You're ordering somebody to throw the ball. It is an imperative sentence. Now there is a rule for imperative sentences. Let's read the rule. In imperative sentences, the subject is always you. However, the subject is understood rather than written. So whenever you have an imperative sentence, it is not necessary that the subject will be written there. You have to understand that. Okay, and mostly the subject is you. Is that clear? So in imperative sentences, the subject is always you. However, the subject is understood rather than written. It is not necessary that the subject will be written. Okay, you have to just understand. So whenever you get such a sentence like throw the ball or open the door, and the question asks you to point the subject and predicate, in bracket you can just write you is the subject. Okay. Let's look at the second rule. Again with an example we will try to understand this. What a wonderful person you are. Now again, go back to thinking to what kind of a sentence this is. We have studied this in the last chapter under kinds of sentences. What a wonderful person you are. What is the kind of sentence? Yes, this is an exclamatory sentence. Since it comes with an exclamation mark, it is an exclamatory sentence. Alright. Now, what do we learn from this? Let's look at the rule. In exclamatory sentences, the subject can be placed at the end, because exclamatory sentences take up a different format. That is why subject can be placed at the end. See what a wonderful person you are. Here you is the subject. I have highlighted you in pink and it is coming at the end. Alright. So this is the rule you need to know about exclamatory sentence. There's one last rule you need to know. That again we'll look at a sentence. Do you believe him? This is a question. What is the kind of sentence? Yes, it is an interrogative sentence. Again, this is something that you have studied in the last chapter. Let's look at the rule for this. In interrogative sentences too, the subject does not come at the beginning. In this example, we see that the subject you comes between the helping verb do and the main verb believe. So what happens in an interrogative sentence? In an interrogative sentence, the sentence will never start with the subject in that case. The subject comes between the helping verb and the main verb. Alright. So over here, do you believe him? Do is the helping verb, believe is the main verb, and you is the subject which comes in between. So whenever you have such sentences, this is how you have to highlight them. Alright. So you can just circle the subject and underline the predicate. This has to be in a particular manner. These rules you have to read. Whatever I've explained in this presentation, this is all taken from your book. I'm also going to share a PDF of the book. Please read the book thoroughly so that when we meet again in the next class, I'm going to ask you questions on the basis of this. I've explained the whole chapter in this video. See the video once again if you want for better understanding. It is good if you see the video twice or thrice. Also, read the chapter. When we meet in the next class, be ready to answer all the questions. That's all for today. We complete our chapter of subject and predicate over here. Thank you.